Hey, so last night I finished watching The Lighthouse, and I I think I loved it. But it's not quite the 10 out of 10 masterpiece that everyone said it was. So I don't know if it quite lived up to the hype, but it was still satisfying enough that I got what I wanted. It's just there's this one thing bugging me that I'll get into later. This is gonna start as a spoiler-free review, but later I'll get into spoilers and I'll warn you when the cutoff is, so that way those who haven't seen it can stop the video and not get spoiled. So for the spoiler-free section, which starts now, the things that I liked about the movie were obviously the two powerhouse performances were great in it, especially Willem Dafoe was stunning in it. He was just so great. Uh, Robert Pattinson was also like equally up to the task, and he was also really good. Both of them played off one another really well, and they go through so many mood swings throughout the film, and they have so many different elements of their character that they have to play, but they communicate all their elements really well to the audience. It's just really impressive performances throughout the whole film. So that was definitely one of the best parts of the film. Another one of the best parts of the film is the stunning cinematography, because in A24 movies, when's the cinematography anything but stunning? Like First Reformed, it's filmed in like a 3:4 ratio, like a classic film in like black and white. Only First Reformed was in color, but that was to give it an old time feel without it going as far back. Just kind of a more nostalgic feel to it. But in this case, it felt more grimy, but I mean that in a good way. Speaking of it, tonally, it felt like uh, it was just the movie's kind of disgusting actually. Like there's lots of just barfing, farting, and just like gross fluids. There's a lot of stuff that's just like, oh, that's repulsive. Because the movie's very unnerving tonally, so like it kind of weirdly works towards the dark atmosphere that the movie's going for. And yeah, it kind of weirdly adds to the psychological thriller and like the gothic horror somehow. I don't know why. It just kind of does. It's also capably directed and for the most part well written, though there's some places where the writing was a bit dodgy, but for the most part the writing was pretty good. I'll get into the dodgy writing later. I'm trying to think which parts to save for the spoiler section. Like what stuff would be deemed spoilers. I guess like when I go into specific events. Uh, I'm trying to think about this now. Where do I want to consider the cutoff point for spoilers? Probably when it's weird. Okay, so it gets very bizarre, which the bizarre stuff I'll save for the spoiler section, like talking in detail about that. Uh, yeah, the movie was also like unnerving, but also like really funny too. Like it got pretty funny in places, as I mentioned before. The constant farting was pretty funny, even though it's childish. But then, like, kind of what the farting does to Robert Pattinson is kind of great too. Like its role in the plot. Speaking of plot, uh, I think the plot for the most part is pretty good. It's a fascinating premise, and I like the spot it ended at. I like the ending for sure. It felt satisfying. Uh, yeah. There's just one thing that was bugging me about the plot and the writing and all that, and I'll get to that in the spoiler section. So yeah, all in all, I think I'd give. Now that one thing kept bugging me through the third act, so I'm not sure if I quite want to rate it this high. But the thing is, the movie's so well put together, and I admire it so much. It's been one of my most anticipated movies of the year, and it's just it is great. It's just that third act. I just need to remember the first two acts a bit more, but since the third act is what I was left with, it's kind of hard to do that, you know? Uh, yeah, I think I'd give it like a 9.25 out of 10. So not the best movie of the year, but I think it is still in my top three. So that's cool. Now I think I'll be delving into spoilers, so if you've not seen The Lighthouse, then you might want to turn away. Um, so now we're going into spoilers, and we're going to be talking about the weird stuff that happens in the movie. So the one thing that kept bugging me about the third act is I forget the specific scene, but there's this one scene where like multiple things kept happening without any rhyme or reason to it. Like there wasn't any build up to it, any foreshadowing, and it never really came into the plot or made any sense, and it just kind of happened. And it wasn't even a dream sequence or anything. It might have been a dream sequence actually, but I think it was or like in his own mind. But I think it was supposed to be in reality. It wasn't really clear. But it's the scene where the water starts pouring into the lighthouse, and like it's just chaos, and like multiple things start happening and happening and happening for no reason at all other than the movie is like trying to figure out what to do. And that part kind of felt a little lazy, and like that scene should have been removed because it made me realize, is this movie just kind of things happening? Like, it kind of feels like the writing in some places is like he doesn't know what to do. So he just throws things at the screen with no rhyme or reason to have happen to the characters because it's interesting to have it happen. But to be fair, you do want your movie to be interesting, so I totally understand doing that, and that's why I'm willing to forgive it so much, because I do that myself. But I preferred it way more when he foreshadowed things by having things happen in Robert Pattinson's real life, like finding a statue of a mermaid, and then having his brain process it in the dreams where he like has a dream about finding a mermaid, and having that dream about the mermaid also tie into his real life where he's still reflecting about the day, where he's thinking about like how horny he is. And kind of addressing that and his loneliness and his fear of like these monsters and the inhuman quality of Willem Dafoe, because at one point he says, "You're not even human, are you?" So that leads me to think that all the monsters in the dreams, like the tentacle spire monster thing, the mermaids, even like when they're talking about religion, like if they believe in God, I think that's why in one of his dreams he sees Satan. And I think that also ties into like the inhuman qualities of Willem Dafoe when he sees like a weird concoction in between the two, where at the end of the film where it's just an unholy abomination of everything from the film, and it's just kind of like a waking nightmare for him. So we're kind of getting into my interpretation a little bit, and I was gonna save that for like the end of the video, but I think we're already kind of starting to get into it a little bit. uh but yeah, that did bug me a little bit, that like it kind of felt like he was like, I don't know where to go from here, so I'm just gonna write a ton of stuff happening to the characters. Boom, water crashes into the window. Boom, all the rooms just fly about and they're thrown around the room. Boom, boom, boom. If they just removed like that one scene, I don't think I'd have a gripe with the film, and the movie would have probably gone up to like a 9.5 for me. Because that was the only scene where I was like, now I'm not sure how I feel about the movie. I don't know why that scene struck such a negative chord with me. because it really shouldn't have. It's not that much of a problem, all things considered. I'm not even sure that it is a problem. Because, like, does it really matter? It feels like a nitpick, but at the same time, my brain is like, and I don't know why my brain's going, because it really should not be a problem. The scene does not matter that much in the large scheme of things. It should not hinder my enjoyment as much as it did for the third act. It's kind of ridiculous. It's not exactly Endgame with its problems. Uh but yeah, let's get into my interpretation of the movie, which I already kind of delved into, where the whole movie's like mixing Robert Pattinson's reality. The Willem Dafoe is reality, right? Or now, first of all, the movie has very ambiguous imagery, as you already know, right? And the movie does not spell everything out for you. The movie's ending is ambiguous. You don't know what the heck you're looking at throughout most of the movie. So this whole review is just spitballing, really, because I don't even know what I looked at, and I'm still processing it. It's kind of just like when you finish any A24 movie, especially if it's like sci-fi or especially horror, because you're just like, I just need to process what I saw for the rest of my life. And I'm just gonna see that in my mind forever now. Thanks, A24. What was I just talking about? um, so he was Robert Pattinson. There's reality. There's his waking nightmare, which like mixes reality and his dreams, and then there's his dreams, right? Which is like total fiction. Oh, and there's craziness, which kind of falls under waking nightmare, because he's slowly going insane. So slowly, everything's getting pulled together into one mesh of reality, which is that middle one where it's just crazy. So reality and dreams are slowly just becoming one, and they're all mixing together into a melting pot of madness. That's basically, I'm pretty sure, what's happening, and that's why things get so weird. Uh, One thing to address. Why does Willem Dafoe disappear during that one scene where he's like, "You shouldn't have talked about the beans. You shouldn't have spilled your beans to me. Ooh, I don't exist. I'm only in your mind." No real person would say that, so if the character is actually real, then he's definitely, I don't know. If he is real, then that's poor writing, because no real person would say I'm not real, like, unsarcastically like that, and then just disappear from the face of the earth. Unless Ron Pattinson had gone completely crazy, and it is from his viewpoint, so maybe, who knows, to be fair. uh, yeah. I also I was wondering, like, what was the other thing about that scene? There was something else too. There was like, oh man, there was something else about that scene that I wanted to address. Whereas like he was going kind of crazy, but there's like another theory I had about it. Or I guess hypothesis, but like, uh man, what was that thought that I was trying to develop? Oh man, maybe I'll just have to come back to it. But yeah, I wonder if there's like a split personality possibly between the two characters, and that's why they're both named Thomas. That's very much a possibility. Because what are the odds that the two people that are stuck together are both named Thomas and they're both light keepers? Like, that can't be a coincidence, right? So maybe they're the same person, and that's why Willem Dafoe isn't real. So another plot line. I'll need to rewatch this one numerous times because this is one that I'll very happily rewatch and try to pull on the threads and like try to pull together and try to figure out. And I love doing though that, just rewatching them and trying to piece it together more and more. I love doing that with like psychological thrillers where you're just like watching like Black Swan or Inception or like Vanilla Sky. Those are so much fun where you're just like rewatching it and you're like, oh, did I realize I knew about the plot? It's like so much fun when you're like just getting lost in your own mind while watching these movies. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, the reason why it's not quite 10 for me is because like I did notice these small things and like there wasn't like a moment where it completely blew me away like in Black Swan, for example, or Reservoir Dogs, where like the whole movie is blowing me away with just how tense it is. But it's still like extremely good and one of the best of the year. What were other parts of the theories? I talked about the mermaid and the religion part, and then what else was there? I feel like I'm missing something, and I don't want to miss something, but I'm worried that I missed something. Oh yeah, maybe I should just go into more detail about the ending then. I'm trying to think. What am I forgetting? I wrote a list. Okay, so I watched the movie last night, and I wrote a list of all the things. So I'm trying to remember everything that I put on that list. I might be forgetting something. I don't know. But I've talked long enough. 17 minutes is long enough. So I'll wrap it up and talk about the ending. So I'm more satisfied with the ending than the ending of the director's previous movie, The Witch, or The Witch, or whatever you want to call it. Just like how I was more satisfied with the ending of Midsummer or Somar. I don't know how you pronounce that. Midsommar. I don't know. I don't know how you pronounce that one. I was more satisfied with Midsummer's ending than Hereditary's ending, and same applies here. Just because, like, I'm all for like downer, like you got the bad ending of video game like type movie endings, but like the way that they went about it, I wasn't sure if I could condone. But it was still like interesting how both of them went about it. And like I still did enjoy both of those movies. And then their follow-ups I enjoyed even more because I felt like they handled their endings better. So that applies here. When he finally kills Willem Dafoe for like the 12th time, and his face is covered in like that tar like blood, which I think is on purpose then, because earlier they talked about like tar. So it's like, I bet that's on purpose that the blood looks like tar. I bet that connection is like something that you're supposed to make. And then he finally makes it to the lighthouse that he had been obsessed about. Also, what was the deal with like Willem Dafoe's last partner? Did he really kill him, or did he really go crazy like Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe? I wonder. Anyways, Willem Dafoe, or no, Robert Pattinson goes up to the lighthouse and it's like, "Oh, this is just as psychedelic as like whatever." And then he starts getting all power hungry and like laughing psychotically as like everything goes. And then like he falls down the flight of stairs and just freaking dies. Or at least I think he dies because it goes so quiet. And he just stops moving. And yeah, it kind of felt like the ending of The Witch when Anya Taylor-Joy is like, kind of turns into her brother, only to the dark side. Only now, Robert Pattinson's getting, what Anya Taylor-Joy probably should have gone for that ending, which is thrown down a flight of stairs. That's really mean. I'm sorry. I don't really mean that, but like, I mean, her character probably should have gotten thrown down a flight of stairs after that ending, not the actress. That came out wrong. That's why I was laughing so hard. Uh, anyways, earlier in the movie, then, so to explain that final shot, what I think it means, because it is really ambiguous, so like, who knows? Basically, this whole movie, right? But earlier in the movie, Willem Dafoe was like, "Don't kill those seagulls. I saw you like facing off with the eagle earlier." Where he's like, "You want to go, bro? You want to go? Yeah, I'm gonna, I'm watching you. I'm gonna like." I'm gonna get you. So like don't kill the seagulls because like Mother Nature or like the video game Until Dawn or like the sailors' souls are trapped inside the seagulls or something like that. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what I said. I saw this like late last night, but like which probably wasn't the best time to watch it, but like whatever, it wasn't that scary. uh but so then in the final shot, we just see him like naked laying face down, I think. And the seagulls are just pecking away at his skin because he ripped apart one of the seagulls and viciously murdered it. And I mean viciously, as you remember, just whenever there's violence in this movie, it has very blunt impact to it. Just like a lot of A24 movies, which is great. Like it's visceral. It's really good. But yeah, so then when you get that sad, downer, disturbing final shot where he's in like some weird seagull purgatory hell like dimension and he's just basically suffering for all eternity, it feels kind of justified because both of the lighthouse keepers both got untimely ends and basically got just well they basically suffered for doing the wrong thing, so it kind of feels justified that the movie got a downer ending when both of them did so much wrong to one another. Like Willem Dafoe like cheated Robert Pattinson out of his money when he was working so hard, and then Robert Pattinson in return straight up murdered the guy several times. So like this one felt extremely justified that we got such a dark, disturbing ending. And yeah, I didn't know that was gonna go with, and then they tried to kill each other in the third act, but I'm kind of glad it went in that direction. I knew the ending was gonna get violent somehow, but I wasn't sure what exactly that would entail. I was gonna guess that would go that way, but I wasn't 100% sure. But yeah, I liked it. The soundtrack was pretty cool too. Like the score, I mean, it does fit with the movie pretty good. So yeah, I really liked it. I'd say definitely check it out. I'll need to rewatch it a few more times to further evaluate like what I think the movie means, like my interpretations, but that's what I came away from the first movie with. I think I mentioned everything now that I said originally when I came out of the movie. So yeah, really liked it. I'd recommend it. So that's cool. Oh yeah, I'd also recommend Midsummer. That movie's good too. We got a lot of good A24 movies this year. Also, I'll be doing my year in review movie thing for last year and the year before that very soon. But I want to wait for last year because I still need to watch Parasite and that hasn't come out to like buy or rent or whatever yet. So I need a way to see that one because I've heard it's the best movie of the year. So obviously I have to see that first because with the year before, I need to make an update to that video because I have a new favorite movie of the year and I've almost caught up to seeing all the movies I wish to see that year. So I might as well update it because it's only a year later. So yeah, I think I'm seeing the final 2018 movie today actually. So that's cool. I'll probably do that today then, like the 2018 in review. Final update. So yeah, thank you for watching. And I hope you enjoyed and found my theory and thoughts interesting. Bye bye!